pay attention, being quiet, and listen carefully. We'll make his comments and then entertain our comments and questions. All right, Fred? I think Fred, his credentials are well known already to everybody, so I won't bother to do that. But if you could come up here where you're kind of in the middle of the Fred, want to welcome you.
We should give Mr. Morrow another hand of applause, but I think he did a great job. Well, I haven't been out of my house for the last 3 or 4 days, so I'm not going to shake anybody's hands. I'll try not to get too close. The combination of the flu and bronchitis is not particularly friendly, as you all know. I'm sure many of you have that. But I will try to do my best for as long as my voice holds up. My name is Fred Hubbell, and I want to thank all of you for being here. I know you came for Eddie, you didn't come for me, but I'm glad you're at least sticking around. I very much appreciate that. You know, I'm a lifelong progressive Democrat and a 5th generation Iowan. And if you're ever any curious at all as to why I'm here tonight or why I'm doing this, it's because I'm no longer willing to just stand around and watch the state that I love get torn, just taken right into the ground by the fiscal mismanagement of this governor and the misguided priorities of this legislature. There's a whole lot of issues at the national level we all just heard about, but we have some real serious issues just right here in Iowa. You know, they privatized Medicaid, and it's a complete failure. Yep. They've done virtually nothing to address our growing crisis in mental health and substance abuse all across this state. They defunded Planned Parenthood, thereby restricting access to health care for 15,000 Iowans all across Iowa. They've underfunded pre-K, underfunded K-12. They've slashed funding for region schools and community colleges. They've stripped collective bargaining rights for working families all across the state. They've taken away most of the opportunity to collect on workers' compensation. Now they're even claiming that people can be sued for fraud for bringing a workers' compensation claim. But at the same time, while they're doing all those things, this governor and this legislature have continued to prioritize what I call wasteful corporate giveaways, year in, year out. I identified $160 million worth of those with the help of this guy back over here, Joe O'Hearn. We were at the Department of Economic Development together. We identified $160 million worth of wasteful corporate giveaways that are still sitting there and nobody's going after trying to stop them. We're giving them away every single year. It's unacceptable. It's absolutely unacceptable. But if we work together, we can change this. And if we don't, we're going to end up like Kansas or Oklahoma. Take your pick. In both of those states now, the public schools are only open 4 days a week. They don't have enough money in their budget to keep the schools open 5 days a week. We used to have the best schools in the country, absolute best. We don't want to be like Kansas or Oklahoma. So, we need a governor who knows how to fix this mess and can turn it around. I've been managing complex budgets my entire life. I've proven an ability to get results in the private sector and the public sector. I used to run the Yonkers department store business in the farm crisis in the 1980s. After that, I was in charge of a life insurance company, the Life Insurance Company of Iowa, with insurance agencies across this state and many other states in this country. After that, Governor Culver asked me to chair the Iowa Power Fund Board to lead the state's effort to invest in renewable energy and renewable fuel projects all across our state. In the middle of that, he asked me to go over and take responsibility for leading the State Department of Economic Development. This guy over here, Joe O'Hearn, was put in at the same time as the number 2. We had a fiscal crisis then, film tax credit scandal. It looked like it was going to cost the state tens of millions of dollars. I know what a fiscal crisis looks like. It's just as important, I know how to fix it, and I've done it. Governor Reynolds has taken a $900 million surplus, frittered it away, and now we owe $144 million back to those rainy day funds. And all the while, she's continued to prioritize those wasteful corporate giveaways, which means we've not been funding education, we've not been funding health care, we've not been funding our judiciary. now they're talking about $1 billion plus tax decrease. Where are we gonna get the money for that? Who's gonna be left on the state payroll? What's gonna happen to IPERS when we don't have enough money? Because we don't have enough employees paying into it anymore, because we have to lay so many people off. This is serious, folks. This is not how we should grow our state. This is not how we should be leading our state. We need a governor who's got the leadership experience and skills to turn around this mess and invest in the real priorities that Iowans deserve. And it starts with the right values. I have two values that are important in my campaign, and have been important to me for much of my life. The first is unity. I've never been a politician. I've never run for political office. All I've ever tried to do is find common ground with people and get results. Work on what unites people, not what divides them. There's too much of that in politics today. That doesn't mean I'm going to sacrifice core progressive values, but it does mean that I'm willing to find anybody who's got good ideas that are advantageous for the people of our state and work hard to get them put into place and get results. The second important value that I have is what I call heart. And it's all about putting people first. This heartless management style of Governor Reynolds and her Republican friends, where they just turned their back on everyday Iowans. It's wrong. We need to invest in the respect and the support that people need to be successful. We need to give people the services like education and healthcare that they need to have better lives and to be more successful. People are the greatest asset in this state. They always have been. We should be investing in them, not taking things away. So how do you do that? You've got to put the budget behind the priorities. Reynolds talks about a lot of nice things over here, but you look at her budget, it's completely different. She's talking now about education. She's talking about mental health, finally. But you look at her budget, there's no money there. It's just all talk. Nothing gets done in this state when we have a budget shortfall and we're not reprioritizing, putting money behind the things that count. I'm going to put the budget behind three key priorities that will affect people's lives. The first is making sure that every Iowan has access to quality, lifelong learning. We need to fully fund pre-K, so that all the kids in this state, not just from Johnston, but from all over different areas of this state, get to start the right way. Then we need to fully fund K-12 public education. We need to make college affordable again. It's increasingly becoming unaffordable. At the same time, we need to make sure that we're actually providing good quality job training in every high school across this state, with public-private partnerships, with local union training facilities, community colleges, and employers. In some places we have that, but a lot of places in this state we do not, and they're really suffering. The second key priority for me is going to get serious funding. It's going to be health care. I believe every Iowan deserves access to quality, affordable health care. Now, there's some things we need to do to make sure that that happens. The first is we need to reverse the privatization of Medicaid. We need to bring that right under state management as soon as we can, as soon as the governor gets elected. The second thing we need to do is we need to restore the funding to Planned Parenthood. So those 15,000 people who had their rights taken away can now go back and choose their own doctors again. It's all about improving access to health care. And we need to address our mental health crisis. It really is a crisis. Everywhere I go in this state, every single meeting, people are talking about substance abuse, mental health, or both. I was just in a meeting early last week. 8 people, 5 of them parents of people who have adult children with disabilities. And they're just, what's happening to them with the privatization of Medicaid, the mental health issues, it tears your heart out. It's just getting worse and worse and worse every week. And that's happening all across our state. My wife and I got involved in mental health 5 years ago when Broadlawns came to us and said, look, we have people in the hallways, in beds, we have no place to put them because they have mental health issues. Can you help us out? So we went to work, we helped them out, and now they have a 50% increase in mental health beds, and they have 2 new psychiatrists. That's leadership. You see a challenge, you see a problem, you go to work, you make progress. That's what I mean about getting results. We put out a plan in early December to address this mental health, substance abuse challenge in our state. And I would love to be able right away, when I become governor, to start implementing that plan, helping people all across this state. But we also have environmental healthcare problems, air and water quality. We've been talking about it, we've been hearing about it for years and years and years, and it just gets worse and worse and worse. Well, my belief is, just like I said, we need to unify people, not divide them. We need to pull people together and recognize that we are all responsible for this. We all could have made a difference in the past to address these issues, and we didn't. We need to step up, all of us, and take responsibility and work together for long-term bipartisan solutions for our air and water quality problems. We can do it. We're going to have to work together. My third key priority is getting incomes rising all across this state. In Independence, Iowa, a gentleman told me not too long ago that he hasn't seen any personal income growth in his community in 5 or 6 years. And he doesn't think that's any different across the state, and he's right. In fact, in the second quarter last year, Iowa had the lowest personal income growth of any state in the country. That's not being number one, that's being the bottom, the absolute worst. That's the record of this administration for business and economic growth. There's no economic growth for people in the state, just for business. So what are we going to do? We've got to do lots of things to get higher quality jobs, and with higher quality jobs, we can get higher quality incomes. We've got to give people back the collective bargaining rights that they need. We've got to restore workers' compensation rights. We've got to raise the minimum wage. We have to invest in communities all across the state to give them the education and healthcare support that they need. So we're not cutting back on classes, we're not increasing class sizes, we're actually expanding training, not reducing it. We need to invest in infrastructure across our state, particularly high-speed internet. It's amazing how many places you can travel in this state that don't have high-speed internet. And so if somebody wants to go to work with a company that's out of state, they can't do it. They've got to move out of state to get that job. I was in Storm Lake the other day. A young woman has got a job when she graduates with PayPal in San Francisco. So I said, well, that's terrific. If you had high-speed internet here in Storm Lake, could you have done that job in Storm Lake and not have to move to San Francisco? She said yes. But she doesn't have it. That's the difference. We need to make those investments. It's time to start investing in our state again. It's time to restore opportunities and stop reducing them. We need to invest in Iowa. We're not doing that. And we need to invest in the people in this state. As I said before, it's our greatest asset. If we're not willing to invest in our greatest asset, we might as well just shut the door and welcome Kansas or Oklahoma, because that's where we're going to be. On the other hand, I know that if we work together, if we stand up together, we can turn this state around and get it growing the right way to benefit Iowans all across this state. Thank you very much. Sorry I can't talk longer, but. I'd be happy to hear some of your thoughts.